the intention for tonight is really to introduce the project to anyone who is going to watch the replay, as we didn't have a lot of energy to put into promoting the start of this. But the launch of it actually is going to be in February. So there's going to be a deadline in January for the project, which will be February 22nd, 2022. And in the meantime, we're going to be building the artists. So the intention for this is not just to give people an opportunity to be poured into by the community that we're building and what we're going to bring. And as an empowerment coach with an alternative approach that sings sometimes, I have been working on a transformation process with the Sacred Sojourn of the Soul, which was the premise for the last album, album22.com. And I have grown a lot from the experience of being part of that first album project. Eric and I, as well as a woman named Denise Exler, came together for a compilation project as part of the album 22, which was You Are Loved. And so that was a huge growth experience, my first original. And then we had hosted all the meetings and did interviews with the artists. And what we found, we learned a lot and grew a lot from the experience. Jared was really the one that had reached out to me in the first place to say, Laura, I love what you're doing, and I'd love for artists and musicians to be able to hear more of what you're offering to the world. And so he was really the impetus for getting that project started. And when amazing people showed up the first time, I recognized iron sharpens iron, and there were sharp people in that room that I wanted to have reason to continue to come together. So I asked a good question: how easy would it be to make an art album? And Jared said, we can do that. And so that was literally how album 22 came to pass. And so let's just go forward. And Jared, if you want to speak into the intention for this album project so that we can share with those who watch the replay and see that it's a small group to start, just for the purpose of what needed to happen for this to unfold and for you to watch the replay and see whether this is something that resonates for you to come back into. We have Ghana represented, as well as the US and Canada, in these 4 boxes. So Jared, I'm going to throw it over to you and talk about the intention for album 22.2, album 44, whatever we're going to call it. What is it about?
Okay, album 22.2, album 44 is our conscious compilation. We're bringing together artists from all over the world to support healing the wounded child, whether that's our inner wounded child that needs healing or has gone through the process of healing. I know as we talk in these meetings, we've been privileged to hear your presentation of hierarchy of emotional awareness and what that does and how that affects. And as we go through life and as we go through their journey of life and we discover purpose, which was what album 22 was about, is discovering your purpose, because we all have a specific purpose. Well, before you can discover your purpose, healing that wounded child is a big obstacle. In my life, I found that having hurt and having pain from an experience I had when I was a child affected me in more ways than I could have ever imagined. And coming to terms with that and healing that process really opened me up to figuring out who I am and what am I on earth to do? What is my purpose here to be? And part of my purpose that I've found is to bring together artists and artist managers and all alike to support a conscious compilation, something where we can use our talents to bless the world with insight and understanding to help raise the listeners' hierarchy of emotional awareness, to help them to travel up to level up and to experience life on a whole new level. It's all the same building. We're all in the same person. But as we experience life through a greater understanding, we have a better perspective. And perspective is everything. So as we brought together all the different artists for album 22, there were so many of them that participated and were eager for what we have coming. And it is my fault that we didn't get this message out a little sooner about what we're doing here. But we got it out to quite a few people. And so I'm sure the replay will be greatly appreciated. Mm-hmm. But I want to bring those who have that voice in their heart to say, hey, this was my experience healing, or this was my process of healing, which isn't always pretty. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It's the energy that we're looking for of inspiring others to open themselves up to experience, okay, what did I experience when I was younger that's hurt me, that's set me back? How can I grow from that? And when they step on this path, so we've got the journey to purpose that we covered in album 22, and I've already gone over this, but it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone of that process, is healing a wounded child. And so we've backed up a little bit and we said, okay, well, let's do that. Let's focus on that. And so that's what this project is. And whether this project ends up being a great compilation of a lot more songs, or just a smaller compilation album of only 11 songs, the idea is that this compilation is to bring together artists who are concerned with the emotional state of the world, because it only exists within each one of us. Each individual has their own emotional awareness and understanding. And as we build and promote and grow that understanding, we're able to make change in the world, to make something happen. When I was in my pain, when I was in my hurt from where I was, my brokenness, I didn't feel like I could have any kind of positive effect or change in the world. But then I realized, as I came out of that part of that experience and part of that pain that I endured was because I have this ability to bring people together. And so we're here because we've been brought together for this purpose. We come together, and this for me was eye-opening and very empowering. And Laura was a big part of opening my mind to who I am and what my purpose is in life. And that's why I asked her to be part of this. Somebody else who's going to be part of this is Remini. And Remini's been an amazing friend and an amazing coach. And she's somebody who had the same kind of idea, the same feeling that we need to do something in the world, something to bring together artists to help make a positive change in the world, because so many artists that are out there in popularity and in creation are bringing things out in pop culture that are just not healthy and not healing.
That's very true.
We have the opportunity to change that. And it's a small force that we're driving with right now, but it's like a snowball. And once we start this snowball down the mountain, it'll grow. Once we start this brush fire, it's going to grow. Once, this little thing that we're starting here, we started with album 22. So we can show that we've been able to do this and put it in a presentable format. And we want to continue with this energy to bring together those in mind with conscious compilation, to have that energy to share with the world. We share it freely, and we share it together, and we share it to build each other up. And we share it as a playlist also, so that the individual artists benefit from their contribution. They're only contributing to the album to help build people freely, but at the same time, they get on the playlist, and that helps to build them, whether it be financially or whether it be, just however, as an artist that they want to be built. And it gives them that platform and that opportunity. Does that answer your question, Laura? Does that kind of state where we're going? All right, perfect.
Yeah, and it's also to say that in the sacred sojourn of the soul, which is the hero's journey from a soulful perspective, the final point that we get to before we return home, which is where we started and where we return to, but know it for the first time because we have new eyes to see that which we didn't have the awareness to see before, is contribution, which is really what we're all doing as artists. But the step right before that that Jared spoke into is embodiment of a new energetic signature, or e-signature. So it's not just about how we use our hand to sign. It's actually how we show up in the world. It's how we do the healing within our own selves and the child within, in order for us to actually have a higher vibration of purity and resonance that we can send into the field that we're affecting. And so it's not just about the hurt that we experienced before, it's about how we transform. And I appreciate you're over in Ghana and it's late. And so I can only imagine what time it is right now. And then I also say that I want to just mention, I always read energies as they show up and what shows up in the space. And when there is yawning, oftentimes it's actually because there's space being made in the vessel for more information or new information. So I don't take it to be boredom or tiredness specifically. I offer a third option just to become aware of, to say that sometimes when you're in those big meetings, or those meetings where there's opportunity for significant growth, and it's like, oh my God, how did I just get suddenly so tired? You didn't. You just tuned into a different frequency that then just opened something inside of you to say, whoo, ha, you need to make space. So that's kind of part of what I bring to the table. And the high rise of emotional awareness that Jared spoke into is that theory of 22 different levels of emotion based on Esther Hicks's emotional guidance system that I then applied to the theory of a high-rise building with the same address, a completely different experience, from the ground floor of depression, for instance, to mid-floor in boredom, which is the top of the downward spiral that takes us down into lower states of emotion, which is energy and motion, compared to above boredom is contentment, which is actually a state of being, which is then what allows us to rise into the state of peace profound or possibility, and actually stepping into the grace that allows us to bless this world and not bring the trauma and the drama and the pain and everything that we had to go through in order to become who and whose we are, without that being a religious connotation. It's just to say that we are here to be the ones that master ourselves so that we can offer that transformation to those who are looking to us, because we're the ones that are brave enough to step forward and to step up, or to be an influencer of others who are doing so, to be able to say, hey, I am doing the inner work so that I don't fail to go inward and then fail to experience that on the outside. It's like, it's all a microcosmic expression of the macro. So if we actually look at ourselves as if we are the microcosm of the macro, and in a holographic image, for instance, every single pixel within the holograph has the whole image within it. And so when we think about ourselves that way, we think about the atrocities that are happening with children and human trafficking, for instance, and how more vulnerable people are to actually getting victimized by things that they weren't aware to be aware of. So we want to help in healing that part of ourselves that makes it so that that pixel on the outside is no longer needed, or the one that's harming that pixel is no longer needed. So we can actually heal ourselves to be able to be that change for others. And then the other piece of this is too, as much as Jared, I appreciate your mentioning how much value you received from my contributions and from Rimini's, I want to say that there are a tremendous amount of skills and gifts that each of us bring. And so instead of putting it all on us specifically, what we're actually doing this time is that we are making part of the requirement to participate in the actual album project, a give back to the community. So an opportunity to share a skill that you have, such as Eric, Tony, Music down, who's driving right now, so he's muted, but uh, with Eric, he had offered to actually share how he had shifted the music in our song from the 440 hertz that is actually destructive. And there's a video that Michael Seegers and I put together to break down the impact on the aura from the different frequencies that are actually destructive, compared to shifting it down to 432 hertz, which is healing and harmonizing. And so we're bringing in that added layer of understanding of how we can actually put healing tones into the music that we use, so that instead of using something that's going to disrupt people and make it chaotic and disruptive and not feeling good, it's really about helping people actually get back to feeling, instead of thinking about everything, just tuning in, so that we can call ourselves back. Because there's all this fear around the new world order, but I say no. Let us make it about the new orderly world, which is the now, where all of our power exists. For have you ever been in a not now moment? No, it's only when we go into the past or the future that we lose our power, because then it's there and we're here with no ability to do anything, when our energies are out here, which is just like the soul fragments that we're going to be calling back. So Rimini, she has a process she's actually launching in November with 360 Artist Wellness, which is around taking some artists through the journey of transformation and doing some recodes. And that's part of what she's offering, but she'll also offer a recode with us, and did so in the first album too, where it was actually setting the intention for this album. So that will, I suspect, be one of the contributions that Rimini brings into this album. And so what we're really asking is for those who are interested in what you've heard tonight, and knowing that we do have 2 months to be able to figure out how you specifically want to contribute to the community of artists that we're going to be coming together with in this process, that you step forward and you share what your gift is, what skill you have that you could use to offer, such as, I don't know whether that's what Tony wants to do or what Eric wants to do this time. I don't recall that you had an opportunity to host that workshop in the last project, Eric, but definitely I feel like it's so important for people to understand how to make that shift, because we do have a range of artists that were involved in the last project and will be involved in this project. For myself, for instance, it was my first original song that was added onto that album.
Wow,
And
that is great.
yeah, and there are others who are, they make their whole living doing music. And so we have, and you're a studio manager, Jagani, so it's absolutely wonderful to have you here. And even though it can sometimes appear unimpressive in when there's a small group that start the meeting and then you think, oh, how is this going to go? It's really not about who's in the screen in this moment. It's about who's willing to step up once they feel who showed up to start. So if you wanted to actually share a little of your story and what drew you here, Jagani, and Eric, if you have an opportunity to do so afterwards, it'd be great to hear your contribution as well.
Well, actually, I met Jared on LinkedIn, okay? And when he shared the album 22 with me, I was really inspired. I listened to every song of the album and it was just great. I got inspired and I was like, this is a group I would love to be part of. And I wasn't expecting any new project to come up, but when he told me about the new projects coming up, I just got ready. So I've been going through a couple of things that I've been writing, all related to music anyway. And, imagine what I could actually put in with this project to support healing the wounded child. And from coming from this place, I mean, in Africa, gives me a lot of story to share to heal a wounded child. So I'm really honored to be part of this project. And like you said, it's not about the numbers. I mean, we are still more than one, and that is inspiring. And that is how it grows. It just takes a little at a time, a step at a time. But I'm so glad to be part of this. So I appreciate being part of this.
We're so grateful that you and who is in the background too have chose to come in this evening. And what time is it even over in Ghana right now?
Oh, it's midnight, 12:26 a.m. in the
12:26.
midnight.
Hey, oh, I didn't realize you were only 4 hours different from Eastern Standard Time at this point.
Yeah, it's so good. I stay up to watch movies sometimes, so staying up for such projects is more important and reasonable, I guess.
Yeah, well, thank you for making this a priority. Eric, if you unmute yourself, then I'll know that you're able to contribute. And if not, that's no problem as well. Eric's over in Arizona, and he has been working on a lot of music outside of this project. And so we'll give Eric an opportunity to introduce. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, no, thank you, Laura. Yeah, I am in a better spot now. I would say yes. Thank you for the opportunity to connect again. And Jared, always a pleasure to see you and hear from you. Yeah, Laura. For those watching, my call to this second project is because I was blessed and very grateful to be a part of the first one. So, for those that maybe don't know, I helped you, Laura, right? We connected to produce that original song for you called "You Are Loved," and yeah, I mean, long story short, Jared, you reached out to me as well last year and mentioned this project, and then I joined these meetings. And Laura, I love how you mentioned that it's not about the number of people present, it's about who gets, I guess, impacted right after, because that's really what happened for me. I was in that meeting, and yeah, it really spoke to me, and I knew that this was something I wanted to be a part of. And so yeah, it culminated into our original song. And so yeah, that's definitely what I am here for, again, is to just continue that gratitude, basically, of giving back. We have these really powerful gifts of our voice and of our talent. And Jared, you said it really well, that if we can impact others, right, and help them heal with these talents, then that's, I feel like that's a purpose worth living. So that's why I'm here. And Laura, to answer your call to action, yes, I would be honored to actually contribute this second time around with that process of doing the frequency to 432. Yeah, I would love to do that. So yes, you can definitely count me in to definitely do that this time around, for
Amazing.
sure.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. And I will say that one of my natural healers, this little man, Julius Romeo, decided he wanted to be part of our meeting as well, which is funny because he doesn't often come over here as of late. But I feel like what we're creating here is small but mighty, and it will be the snowball, and it is getting it to the edge of the mountain. And so it's really an opportunity for you who listens back to see whether you feel like you want to be part of a community where you're going to be in common unity with other artists who want to unite hue-manity. And I always add an extra E because it is all hues included. It is time to stop letting the divide and conquer war strategies keep us safely separate from one another, when the truth is we are the ones we've been waiting for. And it is time for us to stand up. It is time for us to unite, to unclench our fists and to hold hands and to say, okay, if we can heal ourselves, then there is no need for all of the conflict and division, because if we're not fighting ourselves, we don't need to fight anyone else either. So for the last project, we were meeting every 2 weeks. This time, at this point, we're going to make it so that it is on the 22nd of the month. So we're going to make it just once a month for us to be able to come in and check in. But we're going to have our Telegram group, which I'll share the details for when we get this posted onto my YouTube channel. And then you'll be able to join the Telegram group, and then you can share what your contribution you'd like it to be. Before we even get to the music piece, we want to hear how you are what skill or what gift or what song it is or what call is on your heart to share with other artists that was one of the greatest lessons or things that you learned in your journey that you feel like other people have oftentimes had to pay a tremendous amount of money in order to learn, which oftentimes we think, oh, I better hold that one back and then I can charge for that. But at the same thing, if we give freely from the overflow, then we're going to have space within us to receive the abundance of all of the blessings that we were willing to give to the world and then get back. Because the law of karma, this very much is a karma project. The last one was, this one is too. We learned a lot from that one. So this one isn't to say like it's only free and you can't profit from it. Now we're saying, hey, it's a playlist. Of course you can profit. If we can get more people listening to all of the music, anyone whose song is actually on the playlist has equal opportunity to be heard amongst all of the others who are too. And because it's the second one, album 22 gets mentioned too. So there is the residual impact of those who were original contributing artists have a greater opportunity to be heard too. And this won't probably be the last project either, because as we get more people involved and the snowball continues to grow and build, or I'm not so much for the cold, I prefer warmer climates. So maybe we can move away from the snowball analogy. But the point is that this is our opportunity to be the ripple effect that radiates positivity out into this world. So in terms of questions, does anyone have any questions? Or Jared, was there anything else that you felt needed to be shared today as we welcome someone else onto the call too?
My email contact information, that the jredwade@gmail.com. That's going to be our submission point. That's going to be our communication center, as well as we've got a Facebook group, and we've got the Telegram that we're sending out, and we're going to have all these different ways that we're going to be able to connect. So that's where that's coming from.
Perfect. All right. And welcome, Banjo Elizabeth. Great to have you on tonight.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. I'm sorry, it's kind of dark here. I don't know if you can see my face.
I can see eyes.
Dark.
Yes.
There you are.
You can see my eyes, my ears. I have to try to join in because it's 1:34 a.m. by my time here. So I'm joining in from Nigeria.
You're in Nigeria. Fantastic. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be part of this project, and I hope it turns out to become a beautiful project, because I love mingling with people regardless race, country, and the likes, and language. It's something for me to just be part of people and impacting people through my music. I believe in positive impacting, and that is what I love to do, and I'm happy to be part of this group.
Wonderful.
So that's why I have to just kill it off to be part of this meeting, despite the time difference. I still make sure I'm part of this meeting.
Wonderful.
Even network was kind of giving me issues.
Definitely appreciate you showing up and being here.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
We have covered the majority of the information about the album project and what we're really looking for in terms of having you be able to share some of your gifts to bless the community that we're creating, and then to be able to make the deadline for song submissions in January, and then we're going to have a February 22nd, 2022 launch date. So those are kind of the specific details. And then what we'll do is this is going to be posted to my YouTube channel. So if everybody on the call can make sure that you either message Jared, if that was who you got the details for this call to, Jared and I are the main points of contact for this project. Jared more so handles the actual music side of things, though we've learned quite a lot about the need to be on the same page. So working with both is definitely what how we're going to do it. And so even that, in, you know, when you're co-parenting on a creative baby, you know, the first child gets a little different treatment than the first child or the second child.
Yeah.
We're growing, and
Yes,
it's been a
natural.
pretty incredible process. And so in terms of tonight, was there anything else that you wanted to bring into this meeting, Jared, before we kind of close out the recording for the night?
I think we're good. I think we have the bits and pieces, and we have all the information out there, and then I'll be sending a follow-up email with more information and details so that everyone that couldn't make it tonight because of my short notice will be able to make the next meeting, because we have a full month notice. It's going to be on the 22nd of November, and we'll be getting out the information and the contacts for that as well.
Yes. And
so it'll all follow.
And we will be switching up the times, or we may do some different times within the day for the meetings to accommodate those who are on the other side of the ocean to North America, where we are. So we definitely honor you for making it a priority to show up this evening in Nigeria and Ghana. That is so amazing. I am so thrilled to
You're welcome. You're welcome.
and the US as well, and Canada right here representing. So it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. I thank you, and I am so looking forward to what we create together in harmony.